Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, how we're going to fix this bad boy together. Guys, it is freaking on. What we talked to you last night about the breaking news of the new budget has been flushed out a little bit more. And there's a pattern that I'm about to show you, and it's one of the most important pieces to this fight that we're going to highlight. This is a big one, so make sure you send this one out, you share the video, you like the video, you subscribe to the channel, because YouTube is doing that thing where they don't want you to know what I'm telling you. So make sure you do not fall victim to the unsubscription policies of a hostile YouTube to our freedoms. And of course, everything will be linked in the description box below. All right, people, let's get into this. We are going to dive into something that you guys really need to be aware of, because this is the whole ball of wax, okay? So what I'm going to show you is coming from my actual X profile. So you can follow me at Braden LOA. I post all these things ahead of time. So if you want to be on the cutting edge of what we're going to talk about and the things that we're following, jump over there on X at Braden LOA. Now, one of the big things that I've been hitting on for 4 years since the Biden administration, since we've been really talking about the assaults on our gun rights on this channel, this is the executive bureaucratic weaponization. This is the whole ball of wax. This is the animal. They can't do it through Congress, so they go through the executive bureaucratic auspices. That's what they do, okay? You saw it with ATF, you saw it with CDC, you saw it with the IRS, you saw everybody. The executive branch usurps the power of Congress by making up new rules and then affecting you, the citizenry, without having a legislative option to voice your concerns. That is the entire ball of wax. That's what they've been doing for 30 years. It's ping-ponging back and forth, but now it's getting pretty bad. Okay, that's weaponization of the executive bureaucratic agencies. Again, ATF, CDC, IRS, fill in the blank here, three-letter agency. FBI, it's a good one. All right, so now when we jump over here, this is stacking on something that I showed you guys last night when we got the new budget from Trump. You know, the thing where the ATF was getting a 28% haircut, which equates to like $468 million from their operating budget. It's bigger than just the money. And this is going to lead to untold amounts of wailing and lamentations on the House floor and the negotiation for this budget. I mean, literally, the next 3 to 4 weeks of it are going to be a whole lot of clips of Congress people being really stupid and acting a fool. But this is what we're going to be covering. And Trump and the administration didn't have to put this into the budget, but they did. They are attacking the weaponization of the executive bureaucratic agencies or the executive branch against you. That's the important piece. And guys, stick with me on this video because I'm about to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is from Gun Owners of America. This is a tweet they put out yesterday. The Trump administration just condemned Biden's infringements to Congress. Okay, fine. That's not the big story. The previous administration used the ATF to attack gun-owning Americans and undermine the Second Amendment by all of these things. I'm just going to run through them really quickly. Requiring near universal background checks. Yeah, that's unconstitutional. Subjecting otherwise lawful gun owners to up to 10 years in prison for failing to register pistol braces to make it possible for disabled veterans to use firearms. That one got smoked. The imposition of excessive restrictions on homemade firearms. That one was just asinine, and that one actually took an L on that one. And the revocation of federal firearm licenses, which shut down small businesses across the nation. They killed that one. Okay. When I walk into this, let me show you, this is they're retweeting, they're doing a follow-up tweet on something that they put out earlier. I'm just going to read this part to you. Refocusing the ATF enforcement and regulatory priorities. Again, I am building into my whole theme here, so stick with me. This is what they put out in the actual documentation saying why they're putting this budget forward. This is from the Trump administration. The budget bolsters the Second Amendment by cutting funding for ATF offices that have criminalized law-abiding gun ownership through regulatory fiat. The previous administration used the ATF to attack gun-owning Americans and undermine the Second Amendment by requiring near-universal background checks, subjecting otherwise lawful gun owners to 10 years in prison for failing to register pistol braces, as I just mentioned, the imposition of excessive restrictions on homemade firearms, and the revocation of the FFL licenses down to small businesses across the nation. So it's actually in the document. All right, now the big payoff. I'm going to go to the next part here. Again, this is it. This is an update to something similar. And see the document right there? Ending weaponization of the federal government. Guys, this is the thing. The reason this is so massive is there was even a sub-branch in the judiciary about the weaponization of government subcommittee. They're on this, okay? This is why we cover these things. It's so important because your attention to these things makes them do these actions. This is why it's so key. Let me get into this. Update. President Trump is de-weaponizing the ATF and proposing to rein in the bloated bureaucracy, roll back unconstitutional restrictions, and investigate invasive databases and more. That should set off some alarm bells for you, because the invasive databases, yeah, that's the illegal gun registry the ATF has that's not searchable, but so it's therefore a database, but it's not a database because it's not searchable, so therefore it's just a collection of data. That was their whole thing, right? This is the, guys, I struggle, I really try to highlight why this is so important in every single video, the things that we cover for the long term. This right here is it. This is all about the weaponization of the three-letter agencies. I'm going to run through these 4 points, and everything's linked. I always bring receipts. But listen to this. Ending weaponized program cuts highlights. This is from the budget. Biden deployed the ATF to undermine and criminalize law-abiding gun ownership via abusive regulatory decrees. That ends under President Trump. But the bloated bureaucracy that targeted gun owner Americans and Second Amendment rights must also be rolled back. Hard stop! Not only are you not doing it anymore, you're also going to get rolled back. This is exactly what you and I asked for. This right here is what we need. Let's keep going. The ATF created invasive databases, outlawed unregistered pistol braces, and subjected the disabled vets who commonly use them to 10-year prison sentences, imposed unconstitutional restrictions. Same thing we already read. The budget reprioritizes resources to target illegal firearm traffickers fueling violent crime. And notice I said violent crime, not gun crime. And to supply resources for state and local law enforcement to track down dangerous criminals such as MS-13 gang members. Everything that we have been asking for is in that one paragraph. However, listen to where it gets better. This is the whole theme. It's not just the ATF. This is broad-based, overreaching executive abuse of power and weaponization. So the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, this is called CISA. This is involving First Amendment. This is also tied to you guys in the Second Amendment community. The budget eliminates CISA's disinformation offices and programs that function as a hub for the censorship industrial complex, conspiring against the First Amendment rights of President Trump and his supporters. So, you know all those things where you can't post something with a Second Amendment right on a platform? Right here. You can't say something that's free speech protected? Right here. This is all about weaponization and being rolled back. Let's continue. CISA was more focused on cooperating with big tech to target free speech than our nation's critical systems. Even CISA's own systems have fallen prey to attack. Under President Trump's leadership, CISA will protect our critical infrastructure instead of censoring Americans. The budget refocuses CISA on its core mission, federal network defense and coordinating with critical infrastructure partners, while eliminating weaponization and waste. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one, IRS. Again, I'm going to tie all this together. In addition to the IRS being used in past Democrat administrations to target conservative organizations, absolutely happened, the IRS has built up a force of 19,000 new employees, as well as implementing a policy to force Americans to report Venmo and Cash App transactions over a low $600 threshold. The president's budget restores IRS as a neutral arbiter that will no longer use weaponized enforcement and overzealous rules against the American people. The budget proposes to use spending reform to disempower the targeted harassment of conservatives by the IRS. You got ATF targeting our hard assets, guns. You got CISA, which is targeting the free speech, which prevented us from spreading information around the hard asset. And now you have IRS, which was targeting individuals and weaponizing the federal government against conservatives. Again, going after the rights of the people. There you go. How about this next one? This next one is another piece of this. Under Obama, this is the EPA. Under Obama and Biden, American businesses and citizens were targeted and harassed via environmental justice directives. That's woke, by the way. Tyrannical over-enforcement of regulations and restrictive consent decrees. The budget cuts funding for these legally dubious and overzealous prosecutions. Guys, the reason that I'm doing this video is you have to see the overall broad-based approach that they're taking. They are not going, hey, gun supporters, I know you want something. So here's a piece of raw meat, here's a bone, chew on it, gnaw on it, shut up and go away, which is the status quo for politicians. Hey, here's something, here's the special little interest, shut up. Well, now you're looking at an entire weaponization being de-weaponized across all executive bureaucracies. So yes, this is massive for our gun rights fight. It's also incredibly important for our country overall, because what you have been seeing is the executive bureaucratic agencies being utilized and weaponized by the executive branch because they couldn't get Congress to do it, bypassing the consent of the governed, which is why you're all so pissed. That is exactly what's happening in this budget. This fight is going to be epic. They will write tales and regalia or regale us of these battles in days going forward. This is going to be epic because you're going after their favorite tools of coercion. This is going to be a thing, and I am so freaking here for it. Let me know what you guys think about Land of That Plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.